In the last 24 hours, we have seen Bitcoin just move down ever so slightly into a new local low, just coming into contact briefly with its 200 hourly EMA. In this video, we're going to be jumping down into the technical analysis on Bitcoin, taking a look at what's been happening and what I think is potentially going to happen next. Now, as we get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now, if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, check it out. Link is in the description below. It's the first place we go to notify you of everything that's going on in the crypto space. Let's jump right down into this one and make a start with what's going on here with Bitcoin. So this particular chart is Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're using the BitGet spot exchange, and this is the 1 hour time frame. Okay, and from here we can see that the smart money concepts by 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗪 has highlighted several fair value gaps, as we previously have discussed. Obviously, we're only really reviewing data from the 15th of June upwards to where we are now. You can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fair value gaps all stacked on top of each other. Chances are a lot of those are going to get grabbed out. Even if it isn't all of them, you can expect price to retrace and grab some of them. Of course, that will happen down the line. I don't think we're necessarily going to be talking about retracements right away, because there is still a potential push up higher in the price charts that we need to consider. So let's go into kind of what's going on most recently. If we take a look at this particular structure over here, we can see that we were tracking this move to the downside. We thought that we had actually bottomed out, getting close to our expectations, which were 29,609 to 29,869. And as you can kind of see, while we came down into that new local low, we tapped into our expectations here. This essentially means that our B wave, potentially is still in play. That's this B wave structure right in here. Okay, now it does mean that this one's no longer valid, so we'll remove that, and we'll remove our expectations associated with that particular move. Okay, so that was incorrect, and we'll basically review what's going on here. Now, for the most part, if we grab the fibs, I'm going to leave this one to one side for a second, and we measure this distance. Right, we looked at this move here. Okay, we saw this coming down. We want to know whether or not there was more to this than met the eye, right? And as we kind of see here, we kind of pull back down into this range. We bounced up quite a bit, still lower, and then we've come back down again. So there's a couple of different ways we can look at it. We could look at this as being complete here. We then bounced up, and then we're looking for another 3 waves down. I think that's pretty much the best way of looking at it. So all in all, our B wave structure here will have a wave, a B wave, and then a C wave. This means that we're probably going to have to come down just a fraction more before we can start talking about that move to the upside. Okay, so the expectations are actually going to be deeper than where we were originally. So I'm going to just take this white box and we're going to adjust it. We're going to adjust it just over here. Okay, and we're going to be talking about price action moving more towards 175 or 29,175, and then on the higher side 29,514. So 29,175 and 29,514. Those are going to be the ranges that we're really kind of talking about. And you can see the yellow white box area here just isn't quite lined up perfectly. To that, I'll try to get this a little bit neater if I can. Essentially, we are going to be talking about 175. And up here, you can see we're talking about 115, 29,514. Okay, I'm going to just get rid of the fibs, and we can now see that our expectations are to be down here. This is unfortunate because we did break above our trend line, and then we're basically really struggling to find it as support. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. Okay, now it is possible that we've bottomed, but again, it's unlikely at this stage. I would say that our structures are to move on down a little ways further. Okay, so we can see that right inside there. Jumping back over to the BitGet data. Okay, so here we can obviously see the fair value gaps. What would this mean for those fair value gaps? Well, it would mean that we're probably going to grab at least one of these out of play. So let's go ahead and grab hold of this, and we'll just move this over as well. So we can see it's going to be approximately here. So yeah, we'll basically be looking at grabbing the first one. I don't think we'll push anywhere down closer towards equilibrium. I don't think we're going to do that straight away. So I think actually, yeah, we're probably just going to grab the first fair value gap. The first fair value gap sits at 29,401 and 29,486. Okay, so it looks like we're corrective. You can see that we almost came down and touched on that 200 EMA. You can see that now we're trying to push up above the 50 EMA, and again, you know, we can see that there's still a potential push here for a short-term move up, right? We can still see that, but for the most part, we've got to come down a little bit lower by the looks of it. Now jumping over into 𝗕𝗬𝗀, going to the trade section, going to spot trade, going to spot trade Bitcoin USDT. Essentially that is the same chart as we're just looking at. These fair value gaps should hopefully just load up on here on the trading view chart. There we go. As you can kind of see, we've got these fair value gaps. Now if I take this to the daily time frame rather than that 1 hour time frame that we were just on, and we expand this up a little bit, you can see that we've got two really interesting fair value gaps right up here. Okay, the first one of which is 28,399 to 29,546. So a retracement down to our expectations on that C wave would basically put us into, but not completely fill out, the fair value gap on the daily time frame. And again, you know, the daily or daily time frame, but it doesn't matter what time frame it is. The fair value gaps are created from the imbalances in the order books. You can kind of see, you know, when the illiquidity is created or pockets of liquidity are required, and as such, price jumps from the high side to the low side and from the low side to the high side and so forth, right? And so when we got these two fair value gaps created here, two large orders came in on the buy side, not enough sellers. And that basically meant that there wasn't anyone to actually sell the Bitcoin to the people who were trying to buy at the low prices. So price has to go up to where the sellers are, to the higher range. And of course, that's not necessarily what the buyers wanted, right? They wanted to buy cheap Bitcoin, not more expensive Bitcoin. So to see them stacked up like this, you start to think, okay, things are not as natural as they might seem. And again, the fair value gaps are an indication that price will want to come back down and put liquidity where liquidity was. Not a guarantee, but something that we'd expect to see. So again, when you see the order books and you have the charts here, you can kind of make those connections a little bit easier. So if you haven't yet joined up to 𝗕𝗬𝗀, guys, check it out. Affiliate link is in the description down below. As I say, pretty much every day, it's my go-to platform for leverage trading. Obviously, you can leverage trade and margin trade most cryptocurrencies. There's a really good amount of different cryptocurrency pairs on there, and again, I do about 90 to 95% of all my spot trades here as well, and I would buy it on the exchange and then withdraw it into my cold storage device. Okay, I don't keep anything outside of my trading positions on the exchange. Only the trading positions are kept on the exchanges. Everything spot buy wise comes off, it gets withdrawn, and I use 𝗕𝗬𝗀 for the majority of that. So if you are looking for a new exchange, maybe you're a bit tired of Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, Gate.io, or whatever it may be, then why not go ahead and check out 𝗕𝗬𝗀. They've got some fantastic offers available, up to $8,000 of reward bonuses for signing up with the affiliate link in the description down below, and depending on how much you deposit and how much you trade, you will unlock a pretty large chunk of that. And above and beyond that, of course, I do some fantastic offers from time to time, as well as our trading competition that we do down in our Discord server. It's a weekly competition. It happens every single week, where the winner who has the best ROI percentage on their portfolio will basically win 100 USDT. That's something that Chris and myself are doing. It's not affiliated with 𝗕𝗬𝗀 or affiliated with YouTube or anything like that. It's something that we are doing, but we're using the data aggregated from the affiliate link in the description below for 𝗕𝗬𝗀. So it's only really valid on the 𝗕𝗬𝗀 side of things if you want to take part in that competition. So why not check it out if you're looking for a new exchange, if you're looking for some fantastic rewards, or you're looking to take part in some competitions. Why not check it out? The affiliate link for 𝗕𝗬𝗀 is down in the description below. Let's jump back down into the charts. This time, let's take a look at the daily. Okay, so this time we have Bitcoin paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 day time frame, and Binance is our data source. And here you can kind of see that we had the lower highs, the lower lows, we broke up from it, and now you're starting to see the same again. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this, right? It's real early days, and it's a real minor one. But you can see here, we have the lower highs, and the lower lows. We're coiling this one up. You might even say it was more of a bull flag situation, as in we have the pole right inside here. we have the flag situation coming down here, right? And then from there, you tend to have a bit of a break to the upside. So we know that we're in a bit of a corrective pattern, an overlapping pattern with lower highs and lower lows, and we're looking for that break to the upside. The question just becomes, how deep does it have to retrace before we finally get that break to the upside? Okay, so it's going to be one of those. Now, if we take a look at this from a CME gap point of view, we know that there's a gap just up here, 34,455 to 35,180. That's kind of my target range on this one, right? It's a gap that we've been kind of, acknowledging is there, and something that needs to kind of get filled out, in my opinion. The same with this one down here. At some point, we're probably going to have to go down and revisit 20,330 and 21,110. So it's not something that tends to get left behind forever. So at some point, we're going to have to come down here and grab this gap out and fill this gap out. Okay, but for now, I think we'll probably have a higher probability of moving to the 3435 and then reject down to the 20,000, right? That's kind of the expectations behind that one. Let's come back over into our daily chart here for a second, right? So on here, if we remove our stochastics and start taking a look at the volume side of things, you can see that actually volume kind of was slightly higher for the pole, and volumes are decreasing whilst we're decreasing here. This is also an indication that we're about to see a bit of a lift overall there. Taking a look at our divergences, we had our bullish divergence indicated over here. That's okay. And yeah, for the most part, there's nothing else really to know. If we are going to break to the upside here, I don't think it's got a lot of momentum behind it. So that would be an interesting thing to kind of note. The RSI is quite high, and the stochastic RSI is also very high. This is an indication that the market is starting to feel exhaustion, and we should start to hopefully see a bit of a pull to the downside. So that might happen right now, where we start to pull down more before we get this run to 35k, or it might happen afterwards. Okay, we can't time the market based on momentum indicators, but we can give us an idea that the markets are starting to feel a little exhausted. Okay, so we notice that from the charts there. On our hourly time frame, we can still pull back down, so our expectations are that we pull down into that range, as we said earlier. Outside of that, there isn't any other requirements here to see this one push down any deeper. We are still technically, at least possibly, in this C wave structure higher, although if we do come down into this low range, that would basically avoid that one out, and it won't be something that we'll be following, and we'll need to consider that. In fact, I'm going to actually remove that for now, because I think there's a lower probability of that right at this particular moment in time. That would mean that we had that truncated fifth right there, and we are in this corrective pattern to the downside now. That means C wave finish here, bit of a correction pattern here before we start a new pattern to the upside overall on that side. For Bitcoin on that 1 hour time frame. So all in all, I think there's some interesting things that are to develop, but I expect a small pull to the downside before we start to lift up again. And yeah, 35k still technically possible. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you found it useful and informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out. Link is in the description below. And if you're looking for a new exchange, check out BitGet. Affiliate link is in the description below. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to risk your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.